All right. Welcome everyone to our first ever get to know you all things about caregivers on the home front. And I am so super excited that all of you have decided to join us today. We have such great things in the works. Thanks to all of the caregivers that are a part of COH, our volunteers, our board members. And for those that don't know me, my name is Shawn Moore, and I am the founder and executive director of Caregivers on the Homefront. We started Caregivers on the Homefront in 2017, and really it was a desperation on my part because I couldn't find any resources to help me out while caring for my husband, who is a veteran of 23 years. He was in the Army and he was experiencing some things that I thought I knew everything about, but I quickly learned I didn't know anything about, and I needed help. And I reached out and really couldn't find anything in our greater Kansas City area. So I had to go on a national scale, and that's when I found a program that helped me start a support group. And that's how we started. Although one of the gaps that I first quickly realized is that many organizations only support the post 9/11 veterans and veteran family members. And I was running into so many that didn't fit in that era. And I mean, I just couldn't turn people away. I wasn't going to turn people away. I am a daughter of a Vietnam era veteran, and there's some of you out there that's been doing this caregiving thing for way longer than some of us, who have some great information and knowledge that could really share with this newer generation of caregivers. And I think that is would be negligent on our part if we did not really reach out and make this an inclusive space for all of us. So that was one of the first gaps that I saw. And one of the other things that I saw after becoming a caregiver was we really want, a lot of our organizations weren't working on and weren't giving the caregivers and family members a space to work on our own mental health and wellness. It was there for the veterans, but what about us? What about the family members that are taking care of our loved ones? Where do we go to get mental health support and wellness along our journey of caregiving? Because we can quickly find ourselves in some of the same spots our veterans find themselves in. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, mentally taking care of ourselves, then we can't better support our veterans, and for sure not our kids, those of us who have kids, our partners. Caregivers are moms and dads. They are spouses, they're partners, they're adult children, they're young children, they're friends of veterans. There are so many of us that can be caregivers, and oftentimes we fall into them unconsciously. And that is one thing that I think hits us in the hiney a lot. And we find ourselves going, oh no, now what? So Caregivers on the Homefront was founded to support all eras of caregivers in their mental health and wellness journey. And we know these journeys can be long. So with that, I am going to hand this off to Natasha Swayze. She is our program director and therapist. She is an LMSW. In fact, we met when we were finishing up our master's degree at Park University. And I'm super excited because one of my professors is on today too, imparted so much wisdom in the military and veteran space. And I just can't thank her enough for being on. But Natasha is going to talk about some of our programs that we offer in this space. And then she'll kick it back to me and I'll tell you all the awesome things that we have going on and coming up, and how you can get involved with all things Caregivers on the Homefront. All right, Natasha, take it away.
Thank you. And just a little background. Thanks for the introduction, Shawn. I, like Shawn said, met her in school, and I too was a caregiver, but not through the VA, and really didn't identify as a caregiver to now my ex-husband. And I still do a lot of those caregiving roles, even though we're divorced. Um, so that kind of, I feel like I bring that diversity piece of what a caregiver is and what it can be to caregivers on the home front. And Sean presented at school, and I remember just sinking down in my seat, and I thought, oh my gosh, where has this been my whole marriage? I was going through a divorce when I saw her present, and I remember catching her in the restroom, and I said, you know, if I would have known that there was support out there, maybe I'd have better understood him and what he was going through and his challenges and how they affect me. And maybe, just maybe, we would still be married. And so I was just in awe of her presentation and her wisdom in this space and everything. And so when a position came available over a very casual breakfast, she said, hey, do you want to do this? I thought, well, why not? I need something to do. I'm getting ready to graduate. And so we hit the ground running together, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And just I know that I still belong in this space, and I love serving veteran caregivers. So with that little bit of background information, our programming. This past year, we've really had to be very creative in how we still reach our caregivers, with COVID taking its toll on our care, on our programming and what we do, because a lot of it's important to us to be able to meet caregivers face to face with our restorative weekends, and I'll dive into what that is and what that means. But we did a lot of support groups and different things online to be able to, and those when any, we did a cooking class, we did I think a painting, all kinds of things, just to be able to still be together in this space, um, and even some educational pieces that went along with that. But a couple of our um, very prominent pieces in what we do is in the programming. One is our restorative weekend. And when COVID hit, it kind of, we had to cancel some of those, but then we were really expanding this year. It's we started off to a great start. We're actually going to be traveling to several different cities and bringing our restorative weekend to Ohio, Texas. I think we have New York in our plan, and another one. But what we do in those restorative weekends is it's all about our caregivers. Lots of times we have to remind our caregivers. Minnesota, Sean said Minnesota. Yes, I was going to say, I don't know. I knew it started with M, but I didn't want to missay it. We bring usually 12 to 14 caregivers to Kansas City, and on a Friday morning, and we keep you until Monday morning. And it's all about you and your mental health and how we can best support you in this caregiving journey. And lots of times during that, we remind you that, you're here for yourself, and everything that has to do with the veteran, we kind of give you permission to brush that aside, right? And even though it's the reason why you come to our restorative weekends is, because you're a veteran caregiver, we want that weekend to be all about you and your mental health. And it's lots of great information of how to help support someone who has mental health challenges, and help give yourself the tools you need to be able to overcome some of those challenges that kind of bleed into our own lives and our own mental health, and kind of add to that trauma that we experience in this space. And so, but it's also fun. We do, there's lots of fun things that happen during that weekend. And we call that unit that comes, they're tribes. And so we make sure that that tribe of people are kind of stuck together for this journey. They really bond when they're with us. And yes, Sean, she said it's no cost to the caregiver to come for that weekend. That's right. We fly you in. Some people drive in, but it's all inclusive, because there's those financial barriers that we don't want anyone to have to worry about in order to get the support you deserve and need. And during that weekend, we do a lot of different therapies, modalities, as far as equine therapy. That's on our agenda a lot. We have a trauma-informed yoga therapist that really supports us during this, and brings a whole other holistic piece of wellness to our restorative weekend. You're fed really well. Lots of some Kansas City barbecue usually. Our board is wonderful and makes homemade meals and brings it to us on Sunday evenings. But our goal was to do it every 3 months, I think, but it has really taken off lately. And so people are asking us to come to them. At the end of this month, we'll be heading to Ohio, and thanks to a partnership with Wounded Warrior Project, we're going to be able to have a restorative weekend in Ohio. I think that's Sean, do you have anything you want to add to our restorative weekend programming?
One things that I really want to impress upon you all that are here and those of you that take this information and share with others is that this is not and it's not a respite weekend. Some of you are on here that have attended our restorative weekends and are shaking your head. It is a weekend to dive deep into your own mental health and wellness. There may be some tears shed, but I can guarantee you there's going to be some laughter as well. We've had caregivers who are also veterans as well come to our weekends. And, you know, this last one, we had our first male caregiver, and we were so excited to see how that dynamic played out. And wow, it was such an amazing weekend where we could learn from each other because, we know men and women are different, right? And that caregiving role is different between men and women. Um, we could not do it without our volunteers. And many of those volunteers are those that have come to a restorative weekend and come back to volunteer, such as Peggy, who's on with us today. So I just want to let you know that we work hard that weekend, and we want you to leave with tools that sustain your journey. And we hope that that's what we're imparting upon you during that weekend. So, and take a look at our website, caregivers-homefront.org, and look at some of the feedback that we've gotten, as well as keep an eye out, because not only are we going to continue having them in Kansas City, we are going to branch out and come to your neighborhood at some point in time. I'll give it back to you, Natasha.
And with that, if there is anyone on here that is interested in us bringing our restorative weekend to you, feel free to reach out to us. Sean will put our information in the comments, and we'll make that happen. Because we want to reach we're national, so we want to reach as many people as we can when it comes to our restorative weekends. Now, with that, moving on to other services that we provide, We are both therapists under clinical supervision. However, right now we're only licensed in Kansas and Missouri. So if anyone on here is seeking any therapy services for you or your spouse or children, we love working with kids too. Please reach out to us if you are a Kansas or Missouri resident, or if you know anyone who's a Kansas or Missouri resident. Hopefully in the near future, there will be some kind of licensure that where we can practice throughout the United States. But I know that's kind of hung up somewhere in legislation, but I'm hopeful it will eventually happen. And as far as other programming, we just started, we're on our 11th week, and we started a course called Reboot Trauma, and it's a trauma course that we we opened it up for everybody nationally. And we started out with over 20 people signed up. Life happened, so that number's dwindled down a little bit, but we still have a solid, I would say 10 at least people that have gone through this course. They're getting ready to graduate. 12 weeks, 13 weeks including the graduation. But again, this course is made to support the caregiver and the trauma that you've experienced, because we all have trauma, whatever that looks like to each of us. And we really explore those traumas. And lots of it is childhood trauma, past trauma that doesn't even have anything to do with trauma in your relationship. Some of it does, but again, that's just a mental health piece that we really want to support the veteran caregiver in, and know and realize the importance of your healing journey. Samantha, she's one of our participants in that, and she said the course is amazing, so thankful. Yeah, it is. And you know what, Sean and I get out just as much as that, as much as our participants do in that. Just being able to see the growth from week 1 all the way up until now has been tremendous. It's amazing. We realize we're doing the right thing, and we do have a purpose in supporting caregivers. And so we're going to continue it. For anybody who's interested with that, we're going to take a little break because it's heavy stuff. So Sean and I, we need a little break in between there to kind of reflect on it and make things better with it. And so, but we'll launch it again in June. So if anyone's interested, make sure to follow us on our social media or reach out to us via email or phone, whatever it is, and sign up for it. Again, free cost, or no, it's not free. It's Sean.
It is free unless you want to purchase the field guide.
Yes,
that we
yes.
use, although we send that to you each week that you can print off, but you can buy an all put together field guide, which is $20. But to attend,
but you don't have to.
Free. Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to. The course itself is actually free. And let's see, other programming. We have had a strong interest in how to better serve kiddos. So coming soon, we kind of tested that out. Ty, one of our board members, she's on. We tested that out with her daughter. We had a couple kiddos that came to equine therapy, and so we see the need with that, and we have provided therapy services to some kiddos, and Ty said that her daughter loved it. Yeah, and it was a great experience to be able to sit back and watch that all unfold also. But we see the need, and so we are taking action to make sure that, because we saw the gap there as far as the kiddos in these veteran families also needing support, and the things they deal with in this space that, they might not be able to relate to other kids in the civilian world, right? That may not understand really what's going on at home with a parent who has those challenges that come with this in this space. And yes, Shirley, Reboot, that's the name of the offer from, yes. And I think that pretty much ties up our programming. The Restore Weekend, Reboot, and then just some online stuff that we do, kind of random, that it really wasn't random during this past year. It was very intentional and monthly to keep supporting everyone. But it's kind of, now that we're able to meet in person again, some of that's kind of died down a little bit. I think that's it on programming.
I'll just chime in on a couple of things. Shirley, we partnered with the folks at the Reboot Recovery, and when they launched their new course this year, Trauma Reboot, we thought that it would be absolutely fabulous to get a group of caregivers together. We already have something in common. Get them together to work on whatever trauma that they have had. It may situate around their veteran, it absolutely may not. And we have provided that safe space. So it's similar. It comes from them. The program comes from them, but it is different than the Reboot combat recovery. There's also one for first responders. So with that being said, Natasha did mention our support groups that we did during COVID. In May, we have one of our volunteers that is going to do a support group, a monthly support group. So stay tuned for that. That will be out on our social media and on our website. We are super excited about that. We'll have a topic every month that we kind of dive deep into, and we'll make sure that everyone, is able to be heard during those times too. So now, with all those programs, how can you get involved? How can you get involved? To register with Caregivers on the Homefront, it's free. As a caregiver, you can go to our website, hit registration, fill out that form, and you will be a part of Caregivers on the Homefront. What does that mean? You will get those first emails being told about a restorative weekend coming up or anything that we have going on. You'll have that firsthand knowledge instead of maybe getting it on Facebook, maybe missing it. Also, that gives us more information about you. How can we better support you in your journey? As well as we tend to send out random care packages or birthday cards. We have masks galore. So if you ever need any masks, please reach out. We have so many. Casey, send me an email, shoot me an email. We will send you masks. Our health department has been very generous, and we have plenty. We even have sizes for kids, so let us know. We also have some really great things coming up. We have a fun family bingo coming up on May 7th. It is a fundraiser. Everything that is raised goes straight into our programming to host more restorative weekends. So please, that's on our website as well. All things Caregivers on the Homefront is also on our website. You can sign up and play bingo with us. It's a family friendly event, so get your kids involved too. We have some great prizes that we're giving away. And the big prize, I don't know if any of you sleep with someone that has sleep apnea and may use a CPAP, but that's loud. And I cannot sleep worth I don't know what until I came across Bose sleep buds. And we are giving one of those away for our final final bingo round, and I'm swearing by them right now. So get involved with us that way. We are having a virtual, actually a hybrid. We're doing this in person as well as virtual, our third annual 5K. And we surround this all around suicide prevention. We know that this is a big deal in our space. Many of you live with veterans that have suicidality. That's big, as well as in the caregiver space, although that's not put out there as much. And we want to help you help yourselves, your veterans, your friends reach our loved ones in an upstream approach before they're getting ready to fall over the waterfall, because it's really hard to grab them then, but it's easier to grab them when they're upstream, just in the stream, when they're waiting at their ankles. So that's all what our event is about. It is another fundraiser event. All things that we raise go straight back to our programming. Let's see. We have put together a development committee because we are growing, and we are looking for a couple more people to set on that development committee. That is all things fundraising and donor stewardship, because we want to make sure the dollars that we do get in, that we are a good steward of those donors or those dollars. And we are looking for a couple more people to set on that. We meet once a month. That's it. And then let's see what else. We need volunteers for our race. We need volunteers. Samantha, although you're in Minnesota, we can always come up with things. You don't have to be here to help set on our development committee. There's things, hey, caregivers are so good at doing things virtually. I want you to know we are resilient and we got it going on. When people were pivoting and didn't know how to pivot virtually, caregivers already had that going on. We have been doing things virtually for a very long time, so that we can, whether Samantha, you may live in Minnesota, but I know that I can reach out to you in a minute if I need somebody to talk to. And that is what it's all about. Ida, same thing. Like Ida and I are Dole Caregiver Fellows with the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. And I absolutely know that if I needed something, I could reach out to Ida. And that is the main thing that Caregivers on the Homefront is all about. We cannot do this journey alone. We cannot do it alone. And if we don't have others in our space that know what it is to be a veteran family member or a child of a veteran, we can't do this in a vacuum. Veterans, we know, tend to isolate, which means their families are isolated as well. We've got to reach out and be there for each other. So that is what is extremely important to Caregivers on the Homefront. We are super excited. In the fall, we are getting an intern from Park University. We are super excited to give back to our alma mater, as well as have another person that can help support all of our caregivers. So with that being said, I would like to give this to Ty. She is one of our board members, to see if she has anything to say that maybe we missed, that we didn't put out there to all of you on this
He's
call.
down here, hon.
Well, I'm very happy to be here, Sean.
I
Thank
do
you.
have bread.
Tasha,
No,
I think we want to
I
make sure
do.
everyone can
No, you
be on
don't.
here.
Stop arguing with. I got bread last week.
Oh, I think
No,
someone
you
is
didn't.
not muted here.
I
Just
did.
1 minute. Let's see if everyone.
Move your ass.
Okay. All right. Try again, Ty.
Okay, all right. So technology, the world of technology, there's always crazy stuff going on. Dogs barking. Usually my husband busts in here. He's out mowing today. So there should be little to no interruptions, but I'm really happy and I'm grateful for your work and Natasha's work. And I have to tell you, as a caregiver myself, I always like to say that, they prepare us for the knock on the door, but they do not prepare us for that phone call. They don't prepare us for the life, the struggles, you guys are caregivers, so I can go on and on about what we experience, and really kind of only we know what that is like. And so it's good to have a place where all caregivers are welcome and we can find that support. And Caregivers on the Homefront, you do that very well. I'm excited to learn more about Reboot and to see that you're all opening up, and you're using your skills. You're using your skills and your talents to help in an area that's definitely needed. Our mental health is really important. I think you guys covered a lot. I think for those that you're right, as far as wanting to volunteer and get involved, another good thing is just sharing the word. Make sure that you're telling other caregivers that mentioning Caregivers on the Homefront, and just kind of having the stories, sharing your story if you're willing, because a lot of individuals, and I like to call them our civilian neighbors, they don't really kind of understand our family. They don't really understand, but sometimes it doesn't mean that they don't want to help. So this is a way that they can help by supporting Caregivers on the Homefront, whether it is by financial means or by just providing more resources. I think that that's just something good to kind of keep in the back of your mind. And as far as, the kids piece, I'm excited about that. I just kind of want to share my daughter was born with hearing loss, and, during the time my husband's deployment and everything, and there was a lot of struggles that we had as a family and that our kids go through. So having that experience for her really helped me see how much she needed to kind of talk and have that space herself. And so I'm excited that Caregivers on the Homefront is providing those opportunities for our kids. So there's definitely more to come, and I just want to say I'm super excited and proud to be connected and be a board member, and to be here to support other caregivers and to support you all. So feel free to reach out. I know Sean's open. I've kind of, ever since our very first phone call, we've kind of connected. But it's just really knowing that you're not alone out there. So make sure that you guys reach out and get involved and continue to be involved, because that's why Caregivers on the Homefront is here. So, but other than that, I think you all covered very much everything. So yeah, thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Ty. As maybe many don't know, but the board of a nonprofit is your backbone, and they are they make the world go round in the nonprofit world. So we couldn't do it without engaged board members. We couldn't do it without engaged volunteers, and we are so thankful to the volunteers that we have. Nonprofits lots of times revolve around volunteers. Also, you can always do something. And just like Ty said, spreading the word about Caregivers on the Homefront is what we need the most, because we want to support those caregivers that we haven't found, that don't know about us, that are struggling maybe in their mental health, or their kids are struggling, their veterans are struggling. Please reach out to us. We are here to help you out. We are expanding our restorative weekend and our reach to other states. We are super excited about that. One of the things, we don't know what your landscape looks like in your city or your state. Boots on the ground is what we need. It's great when there's another organization in a city that we can partner with to bring that restorative weekend to your city, your town, whether that be a big city or a small rural area. We are coming to Texas, Joe. We're coming to Texas in July. So we are really,
Yay,
that's what
what
we're
part
really,
of Texas?
We're going to Weatherford, Texas.
What part of
I know
Texas?
Texas is big, but Weatherford is where we're coming.
I'll drive.
There
I'll
you
drive.
go. So
Yay. Guys, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt it. I did their weekends before, and if you haven't done it, you really need to do it. It's like one of the best things you could do for yourself.
thank you, Joe. That's what, when we get feedback, we can tweak our programs, or we can stay with what we've got and we can keep moving forward. But we absolutely love when we have participants that can share. Now, you may be asking, so how in the world do I apply for these weekends? Have to register with us as a caregiver, and then we put out when we have an application, and you'll be good to go. Our application is just a few questions, and then like Natasha said, it's an all free weekend. Most of our services are all free. Right now we have grant funding even for our counseling services, so those are free. We do case management as well. That's one piece we didn't talk about. If you are looking for a resource and we may not offer that, we will help you find that. That is good to know, Casey. See, that's what we need to know. Where in the world? Samantha helped us. That's why we're coming to Minnesota. She hooked us up with a great organization in Minnesota that we're partnering with to bring the restorative weekend up there to caregivers. So we want to meet you where you're at. Sometimes caregivers have a really tough time getting out of their own city, their own state to get away. And one of the things that can make it easier for them to leave their veteran is being just a little bit closer to home. So that's what we hope to do in bringing these restorative weekends to you. So at that, we have about 20 minutes left. Does anyone have any thoughts, comments, questions that we can answer? Feel free to unmute and ask away.
Hi, my name is Lisa Sidnor. I'm with Caregiver magazine in Oklahoma City. I just put on chat the online link. If I didn't make a typo, you'll actually get it. The magazine is new. We started in 2019, and we are getting ready to publish our 15th issue. It is a resource guide for caregivers. 35 years ago, my mother became ill and had to go into long-term care because at that time, there was no such thing as aging in place or home health that came and helped. I mean, there was nothing like that. And the trauma and drama I went through trying to find some place that she liked, that liked her, that was a difficult part right there, and that gave her good care. It was trial and error. I cared for my father when he was dying from cancer. And then I had a grandson who was born with multiple birth defects. So for 18 and a half years, my daughter and I traded spots at the hospital. She worked, I went to the hospital. I worked, she went to the hospital. And none of these wonderful programs were in place at that time. We want to get our community connected to all of the programs. So, and like you, it's hard to find, it's hard to tell people how to find something if you don't know they need it. And they think there's nothing out there and that they're the only one going through this. You know, in Oklahoma last year, 255,000 caregivers 255,000 caregivers registered that they needed help in some manner. Imagine the ones who never reached out. We have a great part of our section of the magazine is on veterans. There's rarely an edition that doesn't have something about veterans, what the VA is doing, what programs they have, what the veterans are needing, what what the trauma. Isolation is the biggest issue, and then of course COVID hit us, and it became even worse. The loneliness and the inability to get out and be around people. And I think we all got a really great dose of that ourselves. Now, see, I'm a people person, and I like people, and I want to be out and I want to be about. My sister, on the other hand, could stay in the house for 6 months and never talk to anybody, and she'd be happy. Not me.
I absolutely agree with you. So I am super excited that you shared this resource. I have a very good friend in Tulsa, Oklahoma that cares for her Vietnam era father. We have known each other since second grade. I will definitely share this, and we will share this in on our social media as well, so that others can be involved and get your magazine. And if there's anything that we can ever help you with, please let us know. We would love to share that resource.
Absolutely. Now, the magazine is free. The magazine is free. When you go online, it'll say subscribe, but there's no fee. But if you subscribe, then you have access to all of the things that are on are in the issues. But and there are so many stories that people, if we shared the story, people would find hope and joy and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So please share that. And we are hoping that in by the end of 2022, we will have a magazine in northern Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area north. And Kansas, Wichita is always saying, well, where's ours? Well, there's only 2 of us and some contributing writers and that, so we can't do that. But
we feel your pain on that one, Clarissa. We absolutely feel your pain, but it's through resources such as this resource sharing that we can reach more people, and that is what is key. Before we wrap up, is there anyone else that has any thing that they would like to ask? They have a question. We want you also to know that if you need some help navigating any of the VA systems, please let us know. We have some great friends at the VA, and if we don't know the answer, we can sure point you into those that will get those questions answered. Casey, is it Casey or Cassie? I can't hear you.
It's Casey.
There you go.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I didn't plan on talking. I've had a bad morning. One is on these different organizations and everything. I just happen to be a caregiver that is also disabled myself. Is there accommodations and different things that you provide along those lines for one?
Absolutely. So on that is one of the things that we ask in regard to our restorative weekend is, does anyone have any mobility issues, disability things that we need to know about, so that we are able to accommodate you when you do come out. So absolutely.
My other question is for resources, and I give this to everybody because who knows who has the answer for me. My veteran is currently being held in a jail cell right this second, but he is not being given any type of counseling or anything that he's been having for the last couple years for his PTSD, depression, and all that, which has really made everything go down. Like he's just in a huge spiral. And all he's asking for is some kind of counseling. So I didn't know if anybody had any experience or resources on how to get some kind of counseling session, psychology, anything along those lines into this county jail right this second. So
Where are you located?
I'm in Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois. Is there a veterans treatment court or a mental health court where you're located?
There is a Veterans Justice Outreach Coordinator that has not helped.
Okay. And that is exactly what Catherine put in our chat. So
I've talked to him a couple different times. He's talked to my husband once, and they said there's not much they can do at this point, and he keeps getting denied any type of his counseling, like actual counseling sessions. And they have a psychiatrist that just comes in, changes medications, and even putting him on medications he's had before that caused even worse side effects, the suicidal ideations and everything like that. So we're trying to fight some of that stuff too. So
will you do me a
Sean?
favor and
who is that?
reach out to me through
Okay.
email? And then Samantha?
Yeah, most VA hospitals have a free legal day that you can go to. You just have to call down to the VA and speak with somebody and ask about the free legal program where you can go talk and get advice on how to better help your veteran or anything that is going on. And in this case, they could probably point you in the right direction on who to get in contact with to help support him better while he's there, or even move his case to Veterans Court, which it's usually by county, depending on where you're at. Not every county has it, but that is also something to look into to hopefully, help that process too.
There's some
Thank
there
you.
are some couple of great great things in the chat that may help you out with too. And again, please reach out to me through email and we'll continue this conversation and see if we can come up with some other resources as well.
Sean, can I jump in here for a moment?
You bet, Mary.
Cassie, I can verify everything Sean said about being willing to help. I unfortunately have not been able to go to the restorative weekend yet because of the surgeries I've had, and Sean even offered to drive me around if I managed to get to them. So I can truly back her up and being able to help veteran caregivers who have got their own disability.
Great, thank you. Yeah, because 17 surgeries in the last 10 years has been real rough on me. So but this is something that I think I desperately need at this point with some supportive people around me. So thank you.
Well, reach out to me if you want, Casey. I'm in Peoria.
Not too
Close,
far.
and-
I'm south of Carbondale, so.
And that's what we do too. I want you to know that you may have a caregiver that lives right down the road from you and you wouldn't even know it unless you're in some great tribes of other caregivers. And we just couldn't do it without each other. So that is my hope to you, that you reach out, you spread the word, because we cannot do it alone. And if we don't have a resource, we will help you find that resource. So we are
Cassie?
coming up on just a few more minutes left. Shirley, go ahead.
Well, I sent Cassie a private message. I gave her my phone number. I used to work in mental health here in New York. So check it out. You can call me if you want to. There are agencies that can help you fight through this. I went through this with my son, who was in jail, then prison, and is now in the Veterans Court here. So I definitely can understand what you're going through because it has been quite the journey. So we do need each other, and we do need to come up with ways, which the Dole Foundation is going to be working on, for mental health. And I'm glad that I'll be able to help out with that. And we'll be looking for some good things and good ideas from people who don't know about that.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. Thank you, Shirley, for sharing, and thank you for sharing your phone number with her. That's what it's all about. I absolutely love that we can connect each other to each other and to other resources. So with that being said, I am super excited that each of you tuned in. Thank you for your good thoughts and your well wishes to each one of you that are on the call, as well as caregivers on the home front. Your support to us means so much. The more we support each other, the more caregivers we can reach, and that's what it's all about. I have a personal journey as in caregiving, and I absolutely could not do it without other caregivers and who have become wonderful friends of mine. I couldn't do it without you all. And that is why we keep moving forward and keep striving to serve more people at Caregivers on the Home Front. Keep talking about us, keep spreading the good word, and we'll keep partnering with other organizations to get to your neck of the woods. I'm from Missouri, your neck of the woods, and reach you all. So with that being said, thank you so much for being here with us. Please reach out if we can do anything else to help you.
Yes, thank you all so much for your time. And if there's anything you need when it comes to programming, if you're seeing gaps, if there's something that we can bring to you and or do better, please let us know. It takes all of us collaborating and working together to really make change. And so we appreciate and welcome feedback if there's something that we can implement in what we do.
Thank you. Reach us at caregivers-homefront.com. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.